Welcome. First of all, I want to thank all of you for being here this afternoon, and we really appreciate your coming. We appreciate our supporters and the folks that have allowed us to launch our Media and Technology Institute on last year. And I really want to thank, who I will introduce later, Commissioner Clyburn, for being here with us today. And also wanted to recognize Commissioner Clyburn's mother, Ms. Emily Clyburn. So if you just raise your hand, we thank you. We thank you very much for being here to support your daughter, to hear her make this major address today. So we really appreciate you being here. As many of you know, nearly 40 years ago, the Joint Center was founded to address issues of special concern to African Americans and people of color. And a lot has happened in 40 years. 40 years ago, there were less than 1,500 African Americans who had been elected to any office in this country. Today, that number is somewhere over 11,500. And we have many of those, some of those 11,500 in the audience with us today, and Nicole will recognize them when she gets up to speak. But some 40 years ago, if you can imagine back that far, there were very few African Americans elected to any office, so they had no role models or anybody like that they could go to and learn how to do budgets, how to legislate. So the Joint Center was formed to teach them how to do these things. So over the years, we have evolved into a public policy research institution. But when you think back on the burning issues back in 1970, there were things like decent and affordable housing, voting rights and political participation, economic development, upgrading our schools, and ensuring that every American has an opportunity to get a good education and to succeed in life. And despite a lot of progress over the last 40 years, many of these same issues that I just mentioned are on the front burner today. So on the eve of the 40th anniversary of the Joint Center remains in the forefront of efforts to address these issues and to improve the quality of life for all of our communities. But the march of technological progress has brought forth a new issue in the struggle for equal opportunity, and that's the issue of access to broadband services. The Joint Center has a keen interest in this topic precisely because we believe in the power of broadband to transform our society and to open new avenues for addressing persistent social and economic challenges. Right to the point, broadband and opportunity are firmly linked to one another. So we've created a new institute with the help of many of you in this room within our organization to focus on new media and communications technologies that have the power to transform life in our communities and bring hope to people. And it is through the Joint Center's Media and Technology Institute that we offer today's program, the first in a series in which we will hear from one of President Obama's newly confirmed commissioners of the Federal Communications Commission, Mignon Clyburn, about how broadband policy can help further our nation and our people in the direction of long-held goals of expanding opportunity for everyone. And clearly, this is a time of opportunity. The stimulus legislation enacted earlier this year made billions of dollars available to bring broadband infrastructure to unserved and underserved areas. At the same time, the FCC has been charged by Congress to establish a national plan for expanding state-of-the-art broadband to every community. In all, there is the hope that American households that do not currently have broadband services, and that's about a quarter of homes in the U.S., will soon have that access, which will become so essential to life, learning, and opportunity in the 21st century. And at the launch of the Media and Technology Institute last year, I shared a story about a 15-year-old student who lives in a troubled urban area who was afraid of losing his connectivity. He said, for us and a lot of people in the neighborhood, the internet is like a path out of here. While that is certainly true, the world is moving so quickly these days that in the longer run, broadband internet access has the potential to be much more than a ticket out of the neighborhood. Rather, broadband can ultimately break down the barriers that cause so many of the underprivileged to live in isolation. And by doing this, it can bring a new vibrancy to long neglected communities of color. Instead of a pathway out, it can be a pipeline in, a pipeline of educational and economic opportunity, of knowledge and self-improvement. And that is the thinking that drives our new Media and Technology Institute. We will provide the data, we will provide the research that will help in this area. And to tell you more about our institute, let us hear from the Joint Center's Vice President and the Institute's new director, Dr. Nicole Turner-Lee. And many of you know Dr. Lee as a scholar who has worked on telecommunications and IT issues, as a researcher and practitioner, and as a former senior executive at One Economy Corporation, one of the world's leading nonprofits focused on broadband adoption for the poor. She is bringing her best thinking to the Joint Center to help us understand how we can get more minorities online to experience the benefits of broadband. So let me present to you Dr. Nicole Turner-Lee. Dr. Lee. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I want to start by just saying thank you for being here today. It is first and foremost just an honor to launch this inaugural event with FCC Commissioner Mignon Clyburn. I always make a joke that at one point she and I were on the conference circuit together. I became Ralph's employee and she became a commissioner. And I was trying to figure out what did I do, but it's okay. But we spent a lot of time together, and I know her passion. The FCC has made a fantastic choice to lead the nation along the lines of the issues that they face on a day-to-day basis with our country. I also want to recognize several elected officials that are in the audience today. We have with us today, and this is sort of a precursor to what we're going to be doing tomorrow, but Nobel Women's first Vice President, Senator Arthenia Joyner. You can just raise your hand. National Caucus of Black State Legislators, Calvin Smyre. And National Conference of Black Mayors, we have Heather Hudson. In addition to that, this event is being taped by NextGen Web and the Media Foundation group that will be able to put this up online following the event. So I wanted to make that known to those of you that are here today. As I mentioned, this is a great opportunity, I think, for two reasons, and I'm not going to steal Commissioner's thunder on this, but I think we can both agree that forums of this type are really coming at an opportune time right now. One, we have an issue in this country that we're facing, which is trying to increase the number of people that we want to get online to experience the benefits of broadband. Today, you can find a job, you can access health care benefits, you are able to connect with family and friends. You're in the comfort, when we look at public safety issues, when people have access to this new life resource that is changing the way that we live and learn. And so at the Media and Technology Institute, there's no better time like this for us to capture the essence of what it's going to take to ensure that we get people online. Unfortunately, African Americans have been statistically insignificant in their growth for the last 2 years. And in my prior experience at One Economy, I told people, now I don't have to make things up when I'm at conferences. I can actually come up with facts that help us all determine, as industry leaders, as policymakers, as academics and others, why people are not adopting at the rate that we're interested in them getting online. And so one of the things that we will be doing at the Media and Technology Institute is really playing a vital role in ensuring that we understand what's behind